Hey everyone, welcome back to Black Sheep Requiem. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to do kind of not really a review, but just kind of show you a couple new books that have came out. Also, I'm going to show you my Fanzine first issue that I did back in 1987. So show you a little bit of that, kind of show you my roots also. So I thought the two books I'm showing you today will kind of really go good with my old fanzine. So here we go. Of course, we're listening to right now the absolute classic, Possess, Seven Churches. Huge record for me and multiple other people my age, and for anybody really into extreme music. So killer, Possessed. Okay, so we're going to start today with, this is a book that came out, and this is called 7 Inches of Death. It's 5 years of cult death metal 7-inch EPs. As you can see, it's a big, thick book. This was put out by 7 Metal Inches Records. Just incredible book. I think it was Andreas Herkorn, if I'm saying his name correctly, and Dima and Druck. I hope I didn't butcher you guys' names too bad. But this covers the years from 1989 to 1993. It's just fantastic cover art, as you can probably tell by all you extreme fans, from Mark Riddick. It's kind of a book that covers all the stories behind different bands 7 Inches. Explains kind of the recording sessions they had, how the 7 Inches came to be, kind of the artwork, and just so on like that. Kind of gives a good overall view of that time back then. Some of the bands included on this are Brutality, Rigor Mortis, Incantation, Sadistic Intent, Gorefest, Atrocity, Monstrosity, Blood, and just much more. So there's over 150 contributions in this incredible book. It has a ton of images of different flyers from the time, of different covers from the 7 Inches, also different photographs from the bands and different things like that. Super informative, lots of insight on what was going on back then at that time, extensive details on just the 7-inch format in general. Contains over 50 different interviews, including bands like Carcass, The New War, Venom, different record labels like Megaforce, Century Media. It's just a magnificent book with the kind of the niche in death metal that doesn't get a lot talked about very often, the 7-inch records. So it's just really killer stuff. I'll kind of try to show you guys a little bit, but it's kind of there's like one, we got Grave, just old school Cannibal Corpse stuff there. It's just a great book. I mean literally look how thick, a lot of the cool old covers. Just really neat book. So much information to go through. Just incredible. The guys did an amazing job on this, especially for somebody like me that grew up in this time. It's just great read. Really a lot of memories thrown back. Just very cool, that's for sure. So, but it's just a lot of neat stuff. But I'm gonna show you that a little bit. But definitely, if you're into death metal in general, you want to know a little bit more about the history, especially in the 7-inch format, this is a fantastic book. Probably one of the best you'll ever see on the subject, for sure. So, and then the next thing I have is also by 7 Metal Inches Records that came out this year, and this is tape dealer, and this is a decade of demos, tape trading, and fanzines. Of course, as you can see, more killer artwork by Mark Riddick. And this one chronicles the underground scene from 1984 from 1994. It kind of starts off with some memory segments from people like Ken at Ken's Death Metal Crypt, Cam from The Growl, also has Chris Forbes from Metalcore Fanzine, you know, just to mention a few from back in the day. Just killer. And what this does, it has a lot of the bands, a lot of different bands share their memories of, you know, sending tapes, letters across the globe. Some of the bands included in this edition are bands like Flesh Grind, Hellwitch, Death, Possessed, Vader, Cyanide, Rot, Slaughter, etc. You know, it's the who's who of the scene back then, that's for sure. It's a whopping 336 pages. I thought the last one was huge, but this baby's just a monster. I mean, just look at that artwork all over it. It's so cool. If I can get it to focus. But yeah, I mean, it's killer. The content on this will take you back, just like on the other book, to a unique time in extreme metal. And I was fortunate enough to be there and involved in it at that time. So to me, it just brings back lots of memories, and it's just really cool reading through some of the stuff that, you know, I had back then and or still have, and kind of, you know, hearing the back part of it and behind the scenes, a lot of it, and that kind of a thing. So that's really cool. It's just an amazing book, like I said. This has, you know, different artwork in it too, other stuff. As you can kind of see, let me show you some of this. You know, I got like cool stuff like that. I mean, just chock full of information. I mean, it's like an encyclopedia. I mean, if you're into death metal, especially old school death metal, I mean, you can't go wrong with this thing. It's just amazing. But, you know, I think there's still some available of both of these, matter of fact. I would just, you know, go check with 7 Metal Inches. You know, it's a European, but you can get this. They ship it to US. They shipped it to me from overseas. Also, I know there's been a few distributors in the US now that have both this and the 7 Inches of Death also, so definitely check them out. Kind of reason why I wanted to show those two things today is because the time frame was my heyday, kind of when I started getting into metal, especially extreme metal, you know, in the early 80s, and kind of influence it had on me. So seeing books like this, like talking about those times and stuff, really hit home with me. Like I was saying before, lots of memories, I mean, lots of laughs, just remembering shows, remembering first time I picked up albums, and, you know, tape trading all over the world. I did a ton of that back then. I think, you know, a lot of us that came up in the time did that. You know, kind of seeing some of these old fanzine covers and stuff from back in the day just brought back a ton of memories, and, you know, they looked, you know, so fresh, and I was like, oh yeah, I had that, you know, all that kind of stuff. That's one thing I, you know, wish I still had, was a lot of my fanzines. Over the years, you know, like, just somehow they disappeared, got rid of them, or, you know, whatever. It's kind of those things you don't think you're going to need them or want them when you're older, but now, you know, I see some of these covers and knew that I had probably 80% of those magazines. I wish I had them. So it's a really cool experience, kind of fun, you know, looking back. So, and that brings me to my fanzine that I did. This was the first issue I did, and this was from 1987, and I was just a young lad. So it's kind of the cover of it, kind of show you that. And the original cover for this was like in almost a pumpkin color. I did, I think on this run, I think there was 200 of these at first time. Killer artwork by my buddy Brian way back in the day. like I said, this was my first issue. You know, I did lots of stuff. Has my playlist, the Iowa scene at the time, which really wasn't much of a scene. You know, it's just kind of cool looking back on it. You know, some interviews I did. You know, with some people. But I didn't even have my own copy of this. Throughout the years, like I said, I got rid of so many magazines, even the stuff I did or was in or contributed to. So one of my old friends, Sean, I don't remember if I posted about it or said I used to do it, or he seen my name before we kind of reconnected and said, "Are you the guy that did Vicious Tech Fanzine?" And we ended up going to some shows together and that kind of thing. But I was like, "Yeah, dude," and he sent a picture of it when he asked me, and I was like, "Holy shit, do you have a copy of that?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I got it." So he photocopied my original zine, so now I have my own copy of my own zine from back in 1987, which is cool. It's funny reading, you know, some of my interviews and what I was listening to at the time, record reviews, you know, just different stuff like that. But you can kind of see it's like the really old school way, cut and pasted everything, just threw in some of my own kind of writing. You know, different demos, artwork, like I said. Just some really cool, fun stuff. You know, it brought a smile on my face when it showed up today, that's for sure. Just really dig it. But, you know, had my own little, like, news section, because back then we didn't have the internet. But, you know, different demos that I received from bands. Like in this one, it was Saddest, you know, Sacred Oath. Different bands like that. Oliver Magnum, if you guys remember that. Orgasm sent me their demo. Napalm Death demo of '86. You know, just cool stuff like that. Sick from Hate demo, Aftermath demo, Killing the Future. You know, it's pretty cool. Just some of this stuff, you know, more album reviews that I did back then. You know, it was a whole different time back then. You know, you guys, younger people probably get sick of us older guys talking about it, but you know, the digital really has its place, and I embrace it, and it's a great thing. But the connection I think you had back then has stood for years. You know, the people I've met back then that I'm still friends with today, just because we were part of the extreme music community. It's just, you know, very cool, you know, kind of just to give you an idea on what I was listening to back then. Or my playlist was number 1, the Wargasm Satan Stole My Lunch Money demo. My second listening at the time was Sacrifice for Determination, the Circle Jerks record, Napalm Death Scum, Misfits, Corner, R.I.P. record, Ludacris, Immaculate Deception, Violence demo from '86, Doom Watch, the final demo. It's just kind of funny checking it out now, but it kind of gives you an idea. Even back then I was all over the place listening to crossover, punk, thrash, you know, more extreme stuff. So I just thought it'd be kind of nice to share with you guys kind of my roots, like I talked about kind of in my first introduction videos. So it's pretty cool. Just a lot of memories, you know. But yeah, Vicious Attack, 1987. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little tidbit. Just kind of shows you a little bit more about me and a couple new things that are out now that kind of throw you back to the old times and give you some great information about stuff. So check it out. Stay extreme.